Hello, wonderful families and brilliant young minds. Have you ever wondered why we have different types of weather like thunderstorms and hurricanes? Let's start by talking about what weather is. In the simplest terms, weather is what we experience outside every day. It could be sunny, rainy, windy, cloudy, or snowy. Weather changes from day to day, and sometimes even from hour to hour. It's all about how warm or cold the air is, how much water is in the air, and how fast the air is moving around us. Now, let's talk about thunderstorms and hurricanes. They may seem scary, but they are just different types of weather that happen when certain conditions are met. Think of thunderstorms as a big loud party thrown by the weather. This party starts when warm, moist air rises into the sky. As it goes higher and higher, the water vapor in the air cools down and turns into tiny water droplets. These droplets come together to form clouds. When these clouds get big enough, we get rain. And when the party gets really wild, we see lightning and hear thunder. That's a thunderstorm for you. Hurricanes, on the other hand, are like very big and powerful spinning tops. They form over warm ocean waters. When the air above the ocean gets warm, it rises, creating an area of low pressure below. Air from surrounding areas rushes in to fill this low pressure, but as it moves in, it starts to spin because of the rotation of the earth. The warm, moist air keeps rising and cooling, forming clouds and releasing heat. This heat makes the hurricane stronger and causes it to spin faster. The spinning wind and clouds create a huge storm that we call a hurricane. So what's the common thread between thunderstorms and hurricanes? It's the warm air, the water, and the wind. Warm air rises and carries water vapor with it. As this water vapor cools down, it forms clouds. The wind helps in moving these clouds around, and depending on how much warm air, water, and wind are involved, we get different types of weather. Isn't it fascinating that such simple elements as warm air, water, and wind can create such complex weather phenomena? You see, weather is not just about whether you'll need an umbrella or a sun hat. It's a fascinating dance of elements that happens in the sky above us every day. So next time when you see a thunderstorm or a hurricane, you will know it's all because of warm air, water, and wind playing together. Now let's shift our minds to another interesting topic. Have you ever heard about Congress and wondered what it does? Well, let's start by saying Congress is like a big team of people who are chosen or elected by us, the citizens of a country. Just like we pick our friends for a football team, we pick these people to make some very important decisions for our country. And you know what? One of their main jobs is to make laws. You might be wondering, what are laws? Well, laws are like rules that everyone in the country has to follow. Imagine you're playing a game of tag. If there were no rules, it might be chaotic, right? Someone could say, "I tagged you," and the other could say, "No, you didn't," and there would be no way to decide who is right. But if there are rules, like a safe zone where you can't be tagged, the game becomes fair and fun. Similarly, laws are rules that make our society fair and orderly. Now, how does Congress make these laws? It's a process that starts with an idea. Let's say someone in Congress thinks there should be a rule that everyone must recycle their plastic bottles to protect our environment. That's a great idea, right? This idea is then written down in detail, and this written idea is called a bill. Once the bill is written, it's like the idea is ready to be shared with the whole team. So the bill is presented to the rest of the Congress. They talk about it, debate it, and sometimes even argue about it. They consider questions like, is this a good rule? How will we make sure everyone recycles? What should we do if someone doesn't recycle? After a lot of talking and thinking, they vote on whether the bill should become a law. If the majority of the Congress members say yes, then voila, the bill becomes a law. Now, everyone in the country needs to start recycling their plastic bottles, and that's how Congress works to make laws. These laws help us live in a society that's fair and orderly. They tell us what we should do and what we shouldn't, just like the rules in the game of tag. And the best part? We, the people, have a say in who makes these laws, because we elect the members of Congress. So, Congress is a group of people who make rules, called laws, to help our country run smoothly. And it's thanks to these laws that we can all live, work, and play together in harmony. Moving on, have you ever thought about why we have different types of vehicles like bicycles and scooters? Well, vehicles, in their many forms, are essentially machines designed to transport us, and sometimes our belongings, from one place to another. They have become an integral part of our daily lives, making our journeys quicker, easier, and more efficient. Take bicycles, for instance. They're a simple yet incredibly clever invention. Consisting primarily of two wheels, a frame, and a set of pedals, bicycles offer a clean, energy-efficient, and healthy way of getting around. Imagine living in a busy city where the traffic is often at a standstill. Riding a bicycle would allow you to weave through the traffic, turning what could be a stressful commute into a brisk, refreshing journey. Bicycles are also fantastic for our health. When you pedal, you're not just moving the bicycle forward, you are also exercising your body, strengthening your muscles, and improving your cardiovascular fitness. It's like having a gym on wheels. Now, let's talk about scooters. Scooters are a little bit like bicycles, but instead of pedaling, you're either pushing off the ground with your foot, or in the case of electric scooters, letting a motor do the work. Scooters are smaller and lighter than bicycles, which makes them great for shorter trips around town. Plus, they're a lot of fun to ride. Scooters can also be a great solution for people who find bicycles challenging to handle. Because you stand upright on a scooter, it can be easier to balance and maneuver, especially in crowded places. And electric scooters? They add a whole new level of convenience, letting you zip around without breaking a sweat. But why do we need both bicycles and scooters? Well, different types of vehicles are designed for different purposes and different types of journeys. If you're going on a long trip, you might choose to drive a car for comfort and speed. If you're making a short trip around town, a bicycle or scooter could be perfect. And if you're looking for a fun way to get some exercise, a bicycle could be your best bet. So, you see, the world of vehicles is diverse and fascinating, with each type of vehicle playing its own unique role. Whether it's a bicycle, a scooter, a car, or even a skateboard, each vehicle has been designed with a specific purpose in mind, and they all contribute to making our lives easier, healthier, and more enjoyable. So different vehicles like bicycles and scooters help us travel from one place to another in a fun and efficient way. Let's talk about something really big and strong now. Do you know why engineers build dams and what they do? Imagine you're playing with your water toys in the bathtub and you want to stop the water from flowing from one end to the other. What would you do? You'd probably build a barrier with your toys, right? Well, that's what engineers do, but in a much larger scale, and they call these barriers dams. Dams are like huge walls built across rivers. They're so tall and strong, almost like a mountain. But why do we build them? We build dams for a few very important reasons. Firstly, dams help us store water. Think about it like a giant water tank. When it rains a lot, water flows into rivers and can be stored in the dam. This stored water can be used for many things. It can be used to irrigate crops and fields, to provide drinking water for cities, and even for recreational activities like boating and fishing. Can you imagine having a lake to go boating on, right in your backyard? Secondly, dams help control floods. Imagine if it rained heavily for days, and all that water rushed down the river. Without a dam, the water could overflow and flood towns and cities. But with a dam, we can control how much water flows down the river. When there is too much water, the dam holds it back. When the rain stops and the water level goes down, the dam releases the extra water slowly and safely. It's like having a guard that keeps an eye on the water and makes sure it doesn't cause any trouble. Lastly, did you know that dams can help us make electricity? This is called hydroelectric power.
When the stored water in the dam is released, it flows down with a lot of force. This force is used to turn large wheels called turbines. As the turbines spin, they generate electricity. It's like when you spin a toy windmill really fast, it keeps spinning even after you stop. The spinning turbines generate electricity, which can then be used to light up our homes and cities. So, you see, dams are much more than just big walls. They are like superheroes of the engineering world, helping us store water, control floods, and even make electricity. They're big,
strong, and incredibly useful. In conclusion, dams are like big, strong walls that help us store water, control floods, and even make electricity. So the next time you see a dam, you'll know just how important it is.
Lastly, before we say goodnight, let's understand why we need to get enough sleep for our bodies to function properly. Picture this. You've been playing all day, maybe running around in the park, or perhaps you've had a busy day at school. By the end of the day, you feel tired and ready for a rest, right? That's because your body and brain need sleep. Much like a car needs to refuel after a long journey, our bodies need sleep to recharge and get ready for the next day. Now let's imagine our body as a magical kingdom. Throughout the day, our kingdom is bustling with activity. The knights are fighting dragons, the builders are constructing towers, and the farmers are growing crops. But even a magical kingdom needs a break. At night, the kingdom goes into a peaceful slumber, allowing the workers to rest and repair the kingdom, ready for another day of adventures. That's what happens when we sleep. Our body repairs itself, building bone, muscle, and other parts that might have been worn out during the day. Sleep is also a time when our brain sorts through all the things we've learned during the day. It's like a librarian who sorts and shelves books at night when the library is closed. While we're sleeping, our brain is busy storing away the day's lessons, from math problems to new words, even the dance steps you learned at your ballet class. This is why after a good night's sleep, you might find that you remember things better. Sleeping also helps us grow. Have you ever heard of growth hormones? Well, most of these hormones are released when we are in deep sleep. It's like our body's secret potion for growing taller and stronger. So in a way, you could say that sleeping is a kind of superpower that helps us grow. But what happens if we don't get enough sleep? Well, just like a car that hasn't been refueled, we might run out of energy. We could feel grumpy or have trouble focusing. We might even get sick more easily, since sleep also helps keep our immune system, the body's team of superhero cells that fight off germs, strong and ready for action. So how much sleep do we need? Well, it depends on how old you are. Babies need lots of sleep, up to 16 hours a day. As we get older, we need slightly less, but even teenagers still need around 9 hours of sleep each night. So getting enough sleep is like giving your body a mini vacation every day to keep it healthy and happy. It's a time for growth, repair, and learning. So let's make sure we're giving our bodies the rest they need. Good night, families and young minds. Keep learning and stay curious.